This story starts with young ladies sitting in a study hall where the educator furiously picks out a couple of understudies. She called them name by name and put them in a single line. At the point when the educator asks a young lady a few inquiries, she is helped by her companion, what name's identity was his. Bobby. It doesn't take too lengthy that she gets found out. Then again, we see bunches of hustle around evening time with loads of bicycles, young ladies and young men. This is Bobby's folks and this is her sister. This is Hugo Oliveira. He is exceptionally famous person around the town and known for being courageous and attractive. He is reveled into a contest with different folks. Hugo is the one in particular who wins the pull-up contest and fulfills his mates. In the meantime, Bobby is welcomed by her companions and they all begin to move and celebrate. Just after he is welcomed into a supposed rich individual's party and they all choose to join. A person from the party looks keen on Bobby, where he approach her and call her lovely. He used to date her before and searching for pardoning, yet she doesn't appear as well. Inspired by her, all the posse choose to simply come into the party and ruin the harmony. Hugo's eye gets Bobby and her ex, which makes him grin. Part of the gang from the party was taking from a tote. Unexpectedly a young lady shows up and discovered him in the act. She doesn't care about him taking 50 euros from her handbag, however when he advises her to go on lunch, she moves furious at him and leaves. Hugo approaches Bobby and continue to converse with her about the occurrence last time. He once called her by a terrible name and made her self-conscious. He keep on calling her a similar name and she responds by tossing the beverage on him. At the point when her ex chuckles, Hugo winds up pushing him and breaking the table. He picks Bobby on his shoulders and begin to stroll outside. Hugo tosses her inside the pool while his companions are fending off folks inside the party. The person winds up calling the police and they leave, however not before Hugo tells her that they will shower together sometime later. Bobby additionally can't escape since her dress is extremely uncovering because of water. Some other time when Bobby and the person were leaving, he uncovers that it was each of the an arrangement by him to get to spend at some point with her. However, much to his dismay, that this stunt of his wouldn't work since every one of them came back to annihilate the folks' vehicle. The person winds up hitting one of their gangsters, which was being trailed by Hugo. He doesn't burn through additional time and begins to show him a thing or two. While Bobby begin calling individuals to get some assistance. An elderly person attempted to help, however this goes poorly for himself, so they additionally leave. Assume control over she snatch Hugo from the back. Taking his risk the person take his vehicle and leave Bobby behind. Hugo bother her briefly until she requests a ride from an obscure person who looks exceptionally questionable. Seeing this Hugo shoo him away. He at last gives her a ride and when she arrives at home, she is met with her mom. He uncovers what really occurred. Inside the vehicle her sister uncovers that this is Hugo, otherwise called legend around the town. Following day Hugo gets up in the first part of the day and figures out how to take some cash from his sibling, who likewise help him to remember supper with their father before he leaves. Bobby companion Katina sees Hugo and his companion and calls him out for taking her recompense. She gripes to him for taking the cash to Hugo, however he can't muster the energy to care. It appears as though Katina is glad to go on lunch with the person. Hugo likewise anticipate that she should welcome him to a pleasant spot, yet she is irritated by him and leaves. Hugo later joins his dad for supper and becomes more acquainted with that his sibling is late and his mom is on trip with a companion. He goes inside his old room and begins to envision all the previous situation. Hugo used to be a splendid understudy, yet something occurred in his life that changed his character. Furthermore, he moved with his sibling. Bobby is disturbed that yesterday she unloaded her and disappeared with the obscure person. She believes that he is poor, subsequently required cash, and she is again going out with him. At home, Bobby's folks resent her since part of the gang got downright terrible wounds. So they are revealing the person who was with her last evening. She uncover his name eventually. Her sister thinks since she uncovered Hugo's name, she is in some hot water. Bobby gets a call from Katina's mom for reasons unknown and choose to go on a nearby race where she is available. Hogu shows up and again begin to prod her. She uncovers to him that she let her folks know that he is the one to break the folks' nose at the party. To which his companion is apprehensive, he could go to prison for it. Be that as it may, Hugo isn't stressed on the grounds that he thinks when the day of the court will come, she will successfully save him since she will be so insane for him till that time will show up. Just after they have an unusual race where they should put their young ladies on the back. In the interim they will race. She sits on an obscure bicycle with another man. They race for a surprisingly long time and in the end one young lady gets harmed and every one of the police come. Furthermore, capture everybody. Prior to getting away from that point, one cop can snap their photo. She stows away and trusts that Hugo will come, and he gets later on, yet all the same not prior to giving her his coat and change the garments while he watches her doing that. Later prior to leaving he attempt to kiss her and inquire as to whether she will in any case tell about him in the court and she again says okay and slaps him. Hugo's sibling sees his and Bobby's photos in the newspaper appears to be stressed. Following day, Hugo slipped through her room window and puts a major banner in her and his image so when she awaken it help her to remember him. She is truly glad to see this and it appears as though she is experiencing passionate feelings for him. Yet again she chooses to see Hugo in a party. Bobby hits up the party and begin to move where Hugo shows up just later and contacts her hand. She shows up back at home after at some point. Her mom discovered her in the act this time and becomes more acquainted with that she drank a bit. She gets slapped by her mom prior to leaving for bed. Bobby gets a call from Hugo where he asks that he needs to see her. He asks what they will do tomorrow, to which she will go anyplace. Following day, Bobby is hanging tight for Hugo beyond her school. He gets her, which was being watched by her educator. While they were cruising near, Hugo sees a man with his mom inside a vehicle. He begins to review the memory where his mom left and he later figured out a man and her mom in a noteworthy position. He was unable to oppose his indignation and wound up, beating the man mercilessly. He began to beat metal with his hands since he was unable to accept his mom could follow through with something like this and this was the start of the miscreant. Bobby embraces him and attempt to quiet him down. Later he uncovers that his dad and sibling accepts that his mom is out traveling with her companion. There they have bunches of heartfelt minutes before they leave back for the town. She begins to invest more energy with Hugo and his biker posse. Hugo's side young lady comes and begin to inconvenience Bobby a ton and the two of them begin to battle. Hugo and his mates comes in the manor and Hugo removes her. He guarantee her that he won't ever undermine her. He takes her to a tattoo shop and she joyfully gets a tattoo. Hugo comes to his home and tracks down Bobby's dad, where he needs to converse with Hugo about something. Hugo makes sense of for Bobby's dad that she is facilitating him up and nothing remains to be stressed about. At the point when his sibling attempt to let him know that his activities will end him in prison, he accidentally acted altogether too forceful. At school, the instructor makes sense of that she can get removed from the school since she marked the missing leave letter herself. Her mom gets her and pays €8,000 fine to save her from being ousted. She tells everything to Hugo and he comes into her room through her window. He takes her into an unfilled pool around evening time and they live it up. At some point Hugo goes to Bobby's school and converses with the educator and advise her to stop and not give her any difficulty in future. She asks her dad some help and he cheerfully lets her proceed to choose to deal with her mom. Hugo takes her someplace a long way from the town. They go to an old house with a wonderful spot and there they have heaps of value time. Until the following morning. Following day again when Bobby and Hugo were having quality minutes, his companion shows up with all his companions and begins to party. Seeing this Bobby moved extremely furious and discarded everybody including Hugo. Hugo accomplished something that stunned her with ponders and compost on a structure that he cherishes her. He later figures out how to make great food, only for Bobby. He calls her and becomes more acquainted with that her mom's ring had been absent since their companions were at her home. This was sufficient to drive him very crazy. He goes up to his group mates and begins to battle with the pioneer until the young lady gives him the missing ring. Hugo returns to Bobby's home and return her the ring. Seeing him harmed, she was unable to oppose herself from dealing with his wounds. It is the trial and she is being requested from what happened that evening. Prior to leaving with Hugo, Bobby reproves her mom and makes her cry. Hugo likewise guarantees her that he will change for her. Her mom chooses to set up a party in light of the fact that Bobby is turning 18 soon. She likewise disappears to gift her educator, however sees Pepita there and understand that Hugo was the person who stole Pepita before and she take off from that point. Before long Bobby shows up at Hugo's loft and needs to talk. Bobby admonish him and choose to isolate from him. It is the party day and Bobby is preparing. In the meantime, Hugo is as yet contemplating her. Hugo's companion is again going on the race, yet Hugo is mysteriously gone. He at long last shows up at Bobby's party, and it seems like he had at long last different for her. She was dazed to see him change. They gradually draws nearer and begin to kiss one another. In the interim, his companion is almost there, come out on top in the race, and it doesn't take excessively lengthy that his companion meets with a mishap. They becomes acquainted with about his companion, not so before long. He jests to realize that Paulo is no more. Seeing this, Hugo begins to mercilessly cry. Bobby couldn't take this any longer and simply need to leave. This closures in a debacle since he slaps Bobby before she leave. Hugo begin to do pull-ups, thinking about every one of the things occurring in his life. In the meantime, Bobby was investing more energy with her neighbor. She fails to remember him and erases his number while he is experiencing all the aggravation. On one occasion she was on a call and somebody shows up at the loft. It was Katina, who wish him cheerful charismas. She provide him with an endowment of his and Paulo's picture, to which he begins to cry. The two of them have not met Bobby after the mishap. She recommend him to disregard Bobby on the grounds that she is going with this other person. Later he goes to a similar telephone stall to converse with Bobby and calls. Her mom gets the call, yet doesn't give the telephone to Bobby. He sees them going out in a vehicle. He was unable to take it any longer and remain beyond his loft and cry in distress. In the end we can see Hugo and his sibling, where Hugo is let his sibling know that he is going for work since he can't remain here. He began to recollect that when everything started, you understand that things just happen once. Regardless of how diligently you attempt, you never feel something very similar. You won't ever feel 3 meters over the sky. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more.